You're about to learn something most men don't realize until it costs them years of their life. There's a specific kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from hard work, long hours, or responsibility. It comes from trying to be enough for someone who will never feel satisfied, no matter what you do. And if you've ever felt like the more you give, the more invisible you become. If you've ever noticed that every problem you solve is immediately replaced by a new one. If you've ever been told, directly or indirectly, "You're the reason I'm unhappy," then you need to hear this before you internalize a lie that quietly destroys men. Because some relationships don't fail due to lack of effort. They fail because one person brings a level of dissatisfaction that effort cannot touch. Here's the uncomfortable truth most men are never taught. You can do everything right and still lose yourself trying to fix something that was broken long before you arrived. This isn't about blaming women. It's about understanding patterns, psychological, generational, and emotional, so you stop draining your life force into a problem that cannot be solved the way you've been trying to solve it. Today I'm going to walk you through a real story. Not a theory. Not internet rage. A lived experience that exposes why some people are never happy, and why men who don't recognize this pattern slowly disappear inside their own lives. If you stay with me, you'll understand exactly what's happening beneath the surface, and more importantly, how to protect your peace, your identity, and your self-respect before it's too late. Welcome to Apex Aura. There is a quiet, suffocating weight that a massive percentage of men carry today, and they carry it in total silence because they've been conditioned to believe that the weight is a sign of their own failure. It is the weight of the bottomless pit. You know the feeling even if you haven't named it yet. It's that sensation of pouring your heart, your bank account, your physical labor, and your emotional stability into a container that has no bottom. No matter how much you pour in, the level never rises. You are met with a void that consumes every sacrifice you make and asks with a straight face, "Is that all?" This isn't just about a bad mood or a difficult patch in a marriage. This is a fundamental psychological mismatch that is currently eroding the mental health of millions of good, capable men. We are told that if a woman is unhappy, it is the man's job to fix it. We are told that happy wife, happy life is the golden rule. But what happens when you are dealing with a person whose default setting is misery? What happens when her happy is a moving target that travels faster than you can run? Let's look at a case study that represents so many of you. We'll call him Mark. Mark is 42. He is the kind of man society says we need more of. He's a senior engineer, a man of logic and precision. He is a provider. He is present. He doesn't drink to excess, he doesn't gamble, he doesn't cheat. He spent 15 years building a life for a woman we will call Sarah. When they first met, Sarah was the light of his life. She was appreciative. She was vibrant. She made him feel like a hero for the simplest things. But as soon as the ink dried on the marriage license, a slow, toxic fog began to roll in. It started with small things. The way he cleaned wasn't right. The tone he used when he was tired was offensive. The way he handled his family was scrutinized. Mark, being a problem solver by nature, did what engineers do. He looked for the bug in the system. He assumed the bug was him. Sarah told him she was unhappy because they lived in an apartment. So Mark worked 80-hour weeks, saved every penny, and bought a house with a yard. He expected a moment of peace, a moment of "we made it." Instead, within 3 months, the house was the source of her stress. The neighborhood wasn't right. The kitchen was too small. The commute was draining her. The goalpost didn't just move, it vanished and reappeared on a different field. Sarah then said her unhappiness was due to a lack of emotional connection. Mark, who had never been an emotional guy, signed himself up for workshops. He read the books on love languages. He learned how to mirror her feelings. He started planning elaborate dates. He showed up with flowers for no reason. He gave her more quality time than any man he knew. And yet, during those date nights, she would sit across from him with a heaviness that felt like a physical wall. If he asked what was wrong, the answer was always a variation of, "You just don't get it," or a laundry list of grievances from 3 years ago. Mark reached a breaking point when Sarah told him that she felt stifled by his presence. This was the same woman who, 2 years prior, claimed her unhappiness was because he was never home. The contradiction started to make Mark feel like he was losing his mind. He was chasing a ghost. He was trying to solve a math problem where the numbers changed every time he wrote them down. This is the fixer's trap. It is the most dangerous place for a masculine man to be, because our instinct is to provide solutions. But you cannot provide a solution for a person who is addicted to the problem. Why does this happen? To understand this, we have to stop looking at the relationship and start looking at the internal thermostat of the individual. Psychology tells us that every human being has a happiness set point. It is a baseline level of contentment that we eventually return to regardless of external events. Some people are born with a high set point. They can go through a tragedy and eventually find their way back to a peaceful state. Others, however, have a set point that is calibrated to dissatisfaction. For these individuals, happiness isn't a destination, it's a threat. When things are calm, when the bills are paid, when the husband is being attentive, their nervous system doesn't feel safe. It feels unfamiliar. They have been raised in chaos, or they have inherited a generational pattern of victimhood, and so their brain subconsciously manufactures a crisis to return to the state of tension that feels like home. When you look at Sarah's history, the pattern becomes undeniable. Her mother was a woman who lived in a state of perpetual, if only. If only her husband made more money. If only they lived in a better town. If only her kids were more successful. Sarah grew up watching a woman who used her dissatisfaction as a weapon to control the atmosphere of the house. She learned that being unhappy was how you got attention, how you exerted power, and how you avoided the terrifying responsibility of your own internal state. If you are unhappy because of your husband, you don't have to look in the mirror. You don't have to deal with your own trauma, your own boredom, or your own lack of purpose. You can just point at the man standing in front of you and say, "Fix me." This is a psychological parasite. And the man, driven by his protector instinct, allows himself to be drained because he thinks he's being a good man. He thinks that staying and fighting means fighting for her happiness. But you cannot fight a war where your own ally is sabotaging the trenches. This is what we call the generational curse of the dissatisfied woman. It is passed from mother to daughter like a toxic heirloom. It is a worldview that sees men not as partners, but as utility providers who are perpetually in debt. In this worldview, a man starts at a deficit. He has to earn a baseline level of respect that can be revoked at any moment based on her fluctuating mood. Now, add the gasoline of modern culture to this fire. We live in an era of comparative fantasy. In the past, Sarah would have compared Mark to the guys in the neighborhood. Mark was doing better than most, so she might have felt a sense of perspective. But today, Sarah is comparing Mark to a curated, filtered, and fraudulent version of reality on her phone. She sees the travel influencer, whose husband supposedly surprises her with a trip to Bali every month. She sees the lifestyle blogger, whose husband is a millionaire, a model, and a sensitive poet all at once. She compares Mark's behind the scenes, his tired face after a 10-hour shift, his laundry on the floor, his human flaws, to the highlight reels of strangers. She is living in a perpetual state of FOMO, fear of missing out, believing that somewhere out there is a man who would finally be enough to make her feel the way she thinks she's supposed to feel. But here is the secret that Mark eventually learned: that man doesn't exist. If Sarah were with the millionaire in Bali, she would be complaining about the humidity and the fact that he works too much. The problem isn't the man. The problem is the filter through which she views the world. When a person is chronically dissatisfied, more is never a solution. More is just a larger canvas for them to paint their misery on. If you give a miserable person a palace, they will eventually find a crack in the marble and talk about nothing else. For Mark, the awakening didn't come from a big fight. It came from a moment of total silence. He was sitting in his car in his driveway, a house he had bought for her, after a job promotion he had earned for her, and he realized he didn't want to go inside. He realized that the woman inside that house was a black hole for his energy. He realized that for a decade, he had been auditioning for a role he had already won, but the director refused to stop the scene. He saw that Sarah had been performing in the early days of their dating, a version of herself that was agreeable and grateful, just long enough to secure his commitment. Once the commitment was locked in, the mask fell off. She didn't change, she simply stopped pretending. The cost of this dynamic to the male psyche is catastrophic. Men who live in this environment for years begin to suffer from a form of psychological erosion. Their confidence withers. They stop seeing friends because they don't want to explain why they look so tired or why their wife is always having a moment. They stop pursuing hobbies because any time spent on themselves is seen as a theft from her needs. They become shells of themselves, living in a state of hypervigilance, constantly scanning her face for the next storm. This is not a relationship. This is a hostage situation where the ransom is your soul, and the kidnapper keeps raising the price. If you are listening to this and you feel that tightness in your chest, that recognition that you are currently drowning in someone else's baseline misery, you need to understand the concept of emotional sovereignty. You have to realize that you are not the architect of her internal world. You are a tenant in your own life, and it's time to stop paying rent for a room you aren't allowed to enjoy. The fixer in you will want to argue. He will say, "But she had a hard childhood. He will say, "But she's the mother of my kids." He will say, "If I just try one more thing, it will work." Listen to me clearly, it will not work. You cannot out-provide a lack of gratitude. You cannot out-love a lack of self-respect. You cannot out-talk a person who uses silence as a weapon. The only way to win this game is to stop playing it. This doesn't necessarily mean leaving tomorrow, though for some, that is the only path to survival. What it means is internal detachment. It means looking at her dissatisfaction not as a problem to be solved, but as a weather pattern to be observed. When she complains that the vibe is off or that you don't support her, despite you doing everything, you must learn to shrug. Not out of malice, but out of the realization that her words are no longer about you. They are the sounds of a broken machine. When Mark stopped trying to fix Sarah, something miraculous happened. He started fixing himself. He went back to the gym. He reconnected with the brothers he had ignored for 5 years. He started setting boundaries. When she would begin a spiral of "everything is wrong," he would simply say, "I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm going to go work on the car now." He stopped apologizing for things he didn't do. He stopped trying to buy her mood with gifts or compliance. He reclaimed his identity. What he found was that once he stopped being her emotional regulator, she had two choices. She could finally confront her own void, or she could find a new victim. Some women, when faced with a man who can no longer be manipulated by guilt, actually begin to change. They realize the old tools don't work. But many others simply escalate the chaos until the relationship implodes. Either way, Mark won. Because he was no longer a ghost in his own home. He was a man again. We have to stop teaching men that their value is tied to the emotional stability of their partners. Your value is tied to your character, your integrity, your work, and your own self-mastery. If you are a man of high character and you are providing a good life, and your partner is still miserable, that is her failure as a human being, not yours as a man. We live in a society that pathologizes masculinity but excuses female emotional volatility as just being expressive. No. Chronic dissatisfaction is a form of emotional abuse. It is a slow poison that convinces a man he is small so that he will never leave. Look at the generational data. We are seeing a massive spike in men choosing to stay single or checking out of traditional structures. The media calls this a crisis of masculinity. It isn't. It's a strike. Men are realizing that the contract they were sold is a scam. They are being asked to provide 100% of the stability in exchange for 0% of the peace. They are being told that their privilege means they should shut up and take the hits. But the masculine soul cannot thrive in an environment of perpetual, not enough. A man needs a mission, and he needs a base of operations that is safe. If his home is a battlefield, he will eventually lose his edge in the world. To the men out there who are currently in the middle of this, you are not crazy. You are not failing. You are simply trying to fill a hole that goes all the way to the center of the earth. Stop. Pull back your energy. Take the if-then logic and throw it in the trash. If I make more money, then she will be happy. Wrong. If I spend more time with her, then she will feel seen. Wrong. If I change my personality, then she will respect me. Wrong. She will only be happy when she decides to be, and she will likely never decide to be as long as she can blame you for her state. The psychological reality is that some people use their unhappiness as a shield of accountability. As long as they are the victim of your inadequacy, they never have to grow. They never have to contribute. They never have to be a partner. They just have to be a critic. And being a critic is the easiest job in the world. It requires zero skin in the game. It requires zero risk. You are the one in the arena, covered in sweat and blood, trying to build a life. She is the one in the stands pointing out that you missed a spot. Stop looking at the stands for approval. The approval must come from within. Think about the biological reality of what this does to you. Chronic stress, the kind that comes from living with a dissatisfied partner, elevates your cortisol levels to a point of physical danger. It leads to heart disease, it kills your testosterone, and it destroys your cognitive function. You are literally dying to try and please someone who won't even say, "Thank you." Is that the legacy you want? Is that what you want your sons to see? If you have children, you are teaching them that this is what love looks like. You are teaching your sons to be doormats and your daughters to be tyrants. You have a moral obligation to stop the cycle. The path forward requires a brutal level of honesty. You have to ask yourself, if she never changed, if she was exactly this unhappy 30 years from now, would I still want to be standing here? If the answer is no, then you are currently gambling with the only currency that matters, your time. You can make more money. You can buy another house. You can find another partner. But you cannot get back the years you spent trying to satisfy the insatiable. There is a world out there where you are appreciated. There is a version of your life where your effort is met with gratitude, where your presence is seen as a blessing, and where peace is the default setting of your home. But you will never find that world as long as you are obsessed with fixing a person who is committed to being broken. The apex aura isn't just about success and style. It's about the internal strength to walk away from anything that requires you to abandon yourself. It's about the clarity to see a pattern for what it is and the courage to act on that knowledge. Understand that your hero complex is being weaponized against you. You want to be the one who saved her. You want to be the exception to the rule. You want to be so good that she has no choice but to be happy. This is an ego trap. It's a form of arrogance to think you can override someone else's free will to be miserable. Let go of the need to be the savior. Start being the steward of your own life. When you look at the men who have truly built something great, they almost always have a force multiplier at home. A woman who brings peace, who handles the emotional landscape with maturity, and who sees the relationship as a team, not a service provider-client dynamic. If you don't have that, you are playing the game of life on extra hard mode for no reason. You are dragging an anchor while trying to win a race. The truth is uncomfortable. It's messy. It's heartbreaking. But it is the only thing that will set you free. You are enough. You have always been enough. The fact that she can't see it isn't a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of her blindness. Stop trying to make her see. Start seeing yourself. Start realizing that your peace is non-negotiable. Your identity is not up for debate. Your life force is not a public utility to be drained by someone who refuses to dig their own well. As we close this out, I want you to take a deep breath and feel the weight of that responsibility. Not the responsibility for her, but the responsibility for you. You are the captain of your soul. If your ship is sinking because someone else is drilling holes in the hull, you don't keep bailing water forever. You plug the hole or you get on a lifeboat. You do not go down with a ship that was designed to sink. This is the hidden code of masculine survival in the modern world. It's the realization that you cannot out-effort a baseline. It's the understanding that generational patterns are real, but they don't have to be yours. It's the power to say, enough, and mean it. If you've lived this, if you are living it right now, I want you to know you aren't alone. Thousands of men are waking up to this exact reality every single day. They are realizing that the quiet exhaustion they carry is a sign that they are living a lie. They are choosing to step into the truth. They are choosing themselves. If this message hit home, if it gave a name to the fog you've been walking through, then do something about it. Not tomorrow. Not next year. No. Start by reclaiming one small piece of your identity. Go to the gym. Call a friend. Spend an hour in silence without checking your phone for her check-ins. Build your internal citadel stone by stone. 4 more deep dives into the psychology of masculinity, relationship dynamics, and building a life of true power and peace. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. This is Apex Aura, where we strip away the fluff and give you the cold, hard truths you need to navigate the world with clarity and strength. Join the community. Leave a comment below with the word sovereign if you are ready to reclaim your life from the void of someone else's dissatisfaction. Your time is your own. Your peace is your own. Stop giving it away for nothing. We'll see you in the next one. Protect your peace. Know your worth. And never, ever let someone else's baseline become your ceiling. Stay strong, brothers. The journey to the top begins with the courage to let go of what's pulling you down. This is your life. Take it back. Keep moving forward. Keep building. And above all, keep your aura impenetrable. Until next time.